Hello, and welcome to Anime Breakdown. It's the era of supernatural anime. If you're a fan of the paranormal genre and can't get enough of animes like XXX Holic, Ghost Hunt, or Tokyo Ghoul, then you're gonna love today's video. This year, Jujutsu Kaisen has given a modern flair to anime, with supernatural themes and scenes revolving around curses, swallowing dead fingers, and hand-licking blood scenes. Gross. This video will break down the first episode of the new hit show. Let's get into it. In episode 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen, we're introduced to the main protagonist, Yuji Itadori, a rambunctious high school student with superhuman athleticism who would rather hang out with the Occult Club than join the track team at school, despite his natural talents. Yuji's grandfather passes away, leaving him with one piece of advice: use your power to save people in need. At the same time, Yuji's club members attain a cursed object and release a monster, which almost swallows them whole. Yuji teams up with a Jujutsu student named Fushiguro to save his friends. Fushiguro tells Yuji that a curse can only be defeated by other curses. The monster wishes to eat the cursed object to gain more power. What is the magical object, you ask? It's a dead finger bearing a powerful curse. After being brought to the brink of death by the monster, Yuji impulsively swallows the dead finger himself as a last resort, and with that, he cursed himself with the power of a demon called Ryomen Sukuna, despite killing the curse with ease. In this turn of events, Yuji, now being the bearer of a more terrifying curse, threatens to kill humanity, and Fushiguro tries to exorcise the curse from him. The anime title Jujutsu carries an interesting meaning. As a whole, the term Jujutsu Kaisen translates roughly into sorcery fight in English. Meanwhile, the word Jujutsu translates into sorcery. This means that the title implies the basic idea of the anime, which revolves around wielding cursed energy. This cursed energy is a sort of ki that is the result of negative emotions such as hatred, grief, shame, and fear. So the cursed spirits aren't ghosts, they are the buildup of energy resulting from all human negativity. This explains the setting of the story. Areas with dense populations like schools and cities tend to accumulate more negative energy. This reminds me of the yokai in Japan's trains that feed on negativity, a scene I've seen in Yamishibai or the Ayakashi phantoms from Noragami. Imagine if these monsters stayed in stressful areas like workplaces. That would certainly look like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Before being cursed, Yuji already had superhuman strength and athletic abilities. He was able to bend the goalpost of a soccer net with a single powerful throw, and, if you didn't notice, he jumped out of a 4th floor building by smashing the window glass. He can even keep up in dodging the attacks of monsters. Well, for a short while at least. Yuji was so famous for his strength that people called him the Tiger of West Junior High. These superhuman strengths made him the perfect vessel for the King of Curses. From this moment on, this is where the series picks up an interesting twist that's different from the tired trope of magical teenagers fighting a force of evil. The protagonist hits a wall that is more specific to finding himself faced with a monster he can't beat. His urge to save his friends leads him to decide to take a chance, try to take the curse upon himself, and become stronger. A normal person was supposed to die from consuming a powerful cursed object like Sukuna's finger, but 1 in a million can actually handle the burden of the curse, and this turns out to be the case with Yuji. After swallowing the cursed object, Yuji gets Sukuna's second pair of eyes right underneath his normal eyes. These came from Sukuna's demon form. It was said that Sukuna even had 4 arms and 2 faces during his last appearance 1,000 years ago, and the dead creepy finger was from the remains of his corpse from a battle with the sorcerers who defeated him. He creates new eyes and mouths for his new host, which allows him to see and speak without controlling the host's body. In Japanese mythology, Sukuna has inhuman strength with a total of 8 limbs, 4 arms, and legs wielding weapons that he uses when terrorizing villages. Going back to the story, Yuji's actions immediately became a double-edged sword that is now threatening all of humanity. Sukuna immediately makes plans to go on a murderous rampage. After all his time in suspension, he is especially keen on killing women and children. Surely couldn't get worse than that, right? It was Yuji's grandfather's last guiding principle to help people whenever you can, and his optimism that everyone deserves a proper death that incites a grand ambition and damns him at the same time. Yuji's strong attitude actually gave him the upper hand over Sukuna, enabling him to suppress the curse. The situation takes a turn for the worse when Fushiguro summons a Shikigami, treats Yuji like a curse, and wants to exorcise him due to Jujutsu regulations. I'm sure you're all curious about Megumi's Jujutsu. We saw he summoned divine dogs from his shadow, which are twin white and black wolves. What's interesting though is that Megumi can also summon a single dog at a time. That's convenient. Despite the practicality of having two great Shikigamis, the downside is that these dogs are only able to defeat weaker curses or attack specific targets. Fushiguro summons his dogs by clasping his hands together and shaping them like a hound. Megumi's not trying to act cool and all to summon a Shikigami, but this way of summoning proves to be useful especially in tight situations, especially when he's in a hurry. This type of summoning is called the 10 Shadows technique, which is a form of advanced Jujutsu, unique only to Megumi Fushiguro. Shikigamis that are summoned can take on many characteristics. They can be dogs, snakes, birds, elephants. They differ in size and ability, and they have certain symbols and patterns on their bodies that look like symbols of 10 sacred treasures or regalia in the Shinto tradition. This explains the triangular dots on the hound's forehead. Every time a Shikigami is summoned or created, the summoner can dispel and resummon them anytime, as many times as necessary. They can be very efficient to use because even when they get destroyed, the cursed energy that forms them just recycles back to form another Shikigami. Talk about being thrifty. Another fact is that these Shikigamis can be extremely useful not only with exorcising curses, but also for surveillance and scouting. And the best part is that one doesn't need to learn curse techniques or advanced Jujutsu for Shikigami use because even those that are not able to use curse techniques can do it. Sign me up for that. We've seen Yuji transform into the terrifying Sukuna, and at some point we also expected that he would do curse techniques much like Fushiguro. However, this wasn't shown in the first episode. We only saw him expel a tremendous amount of cursed energy that stops the monsters from eating him, and he used another cursed energy for simply slashing the monster into shreds. This signifies how strong and truly terrifying he can be. Imagine what else he can do. We're only hoping he's just joking around when he said he'll destroy humanity. Ryomen Sukuna, or we can call him Sukuna for short, the first impression is that he has this sadistic personality. He carries an overwhelming aura of authority and power. It all makes sense since he is called a king of curses. Legend says that he was a demon, but the truth is, spoiler alert, he was a human sorcerer. We know that Yuji already has superhuman strength, and it's apparent that not only his strength was amplified, but he also got superhuman speed and reflexes to counter opponents. Innately, the immense cursed energy he has is due to his status as a king of curses. He could use this technique in every battle without tiring himself in the slightest. Fushiguro mentioned that he is a special grade cursed spirit, most probably due to this innate skill level. Sukuna's slashing techniques are divided into two, dismantle and cleave. Dismantle is when he instantly slashes his target apart into small cubes. Meanwhile, cleave allows Sukuna to adjust cursed energy into cutting down stronger opponents in one strike. Now, we wonder, which of those do you think he used to defeat the monster? Dismantle or cleave? Write your answer in the comments below. Share the video with an anime fan, like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for more anime breakdowns.